think the library in my school is okay, but in some schools, the library is
So tiny.
like maybe half of this room. Where are all of the books? Where are we gonna keep the books?
During online lessons, I'm going to be honest, none of my class paid attention.
Yeah,
Not even-
I did online class with you, Amit, through COVID, I know.
In my school, racism is circulating a lot these days.
Yeah.
And the teachers, they just follow a same action plan, but it doesn't make a difference because all they do is just keep reflection time for 30 minutes, and then now they come back to class with the same attitude. So there's actually no difference been made.
Welcome to Life the Hive, a show where we take really big questions and ask those big questions to little people. And these little people are some of the smartest people I know. Now, of course, I know you all well, and I know that you all have such insightful, such wise opinions on the world. But I don't think people listen to kids enough. And so there's an effort for us to actually fix some of that, okay? So our big question on the show today is, how can we make schools better? Now, as somebody who's an educator myself, I find myself extremely frustrated with school systems. Do you guys agree?
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. I think that there are well-intentioned people out there. Like the principal as a person is probably good. You know, as a teacher as a person is probably good. But they're just stuck in these really bad systems, really messed up systems, and we're not able to fix it. And it really annoys me because I feel like we're busy putting man on the moon and going out to space, but we can't fix the one thing that we know all our children need, which is a good school. So I want to start by asking Amen, what do you think we can do to make our schools better and more effective?
Our schools always talk about how we need to eat food and we need to have more physical education because
Yeah.
otherwise we'll be fat if we eat too much food. And otherwise, if we don't do if we do so much exercise but we don't eat any food, we will just keep on getting tired and we won't have the stamina. But then
Yes.
schools are there saying only 30 minutes break, 10 minutes break, and even sometimes 5 minutes break. Because each time in the passing year, when we get a year older, they literally cut our break time by half or maybe even more than that. So each time we have less and less time to eat. And then they are literally telling, why do you guys not eat, bring more tiffins and bring healthier food? We can't finish all that food in 10 minutes you're giving us. And we also want to go outside and play, otherwise you will shout at us. Because in classroom, if we are all eating and since there's so much less time, we have to quickly eat. The teachers are really shouting, "It's go outside and eat." Like, how are we supposed to do that? What about we have to for example, idli and chapati? Well, how we have to tiffin. So, I think they should probably add more benches or anything so we can actually eat and.
Yeah, I think I want to extend that problem. Okay, so I feel like it's not just about eat your lunch in 10 minutes. It's that as we're making you get older and older and older, it's like we're training you for all the habits that you're going to spend all of your 30s and 40s trying to undo. Right? Me as a 37-year-old, I'm trying to eat slowly, I'm trying to exercise more, but everything in high school has told me exercise less, eat faster. You know, it's so funny, right? We're literally building you up for the exact habits that you're going to spend your entire 30s and 40s or maybe 20s undoing. What else is the problem with PE according to you, Samik?
I mean, for me, there is no trouble in the PE timing.
Yeah.
The problem is the range of PE sports, and also you can have a ball of people what people want to do, because dodgeball is rarely played in my school. Once you get higher than tier 3, 4, in the top years, dodgeball is never played. So I think we need more dodgeball, bench ball, stuff like that.
Space also, right, to play these games. Sometimes I look at school playgrounds and they're packed, there is just no room for all of the kids. Kabir, what do you think?
Yes, I agree to him. And one idea we can give all the schools for increasing our break is that you should always think about the children. Because whenever you're thinking about the children, you do something bad to them also sometimes.
Yeah. That's true. You're actually doing stuff that's harming them more. Ashni has a point to make. Yeah.
So, what he said is that like there's not much variety. I agree on that because my school, it's like, so there are like 3 terms, yeah. Only 4 sports. We focus on 4 sports, which is usually basketball, football, and
Cricket?
cricket, and one new trouble. No,
Swimming.
Arabics,
Hmm.
something like that.
Arabics.
Yeah, Arabics. So they don't really teach anything out of that. So like, what about the other sports? Some that like dodgeball. It's rarely played, but it's a fun activity, and you get more stamina when you play it.
Mm.
So I think that schools should increase their variety of sports when you have PE.
Okay, you agree with that?
Yes, I agree.
Yeah. So okay, so there's a variety of sports. There's more time to play sport and actually be physical and focus on your food and all of those things. But what else is you think wrong with the way that physical education is taught in schools?
So in my school, I have my PE on Wednesdays. So every time there's an event and my PE gets cancelled, and some science or maths teacher has to come.
Man, that's so not okay, right?
Yeah, and so we barely have any PE,
Hmm.
and then some teacher says that you'll have PE in my class, but then the school year's ending, like it's gonna be holidays. What next class?
Yeah, and and then we wonder because when we become older and we get jobs and stuff like that, and we say, oh, I couldn't go to the gym today because I had an important meeting. I couldn't go to the gym today because I had to work early. And then we wonder why is it so hard for us to get that habit of going to the gym? Because this is what we're doing in middle school. So obviously that's what we're going to be doing as adults, right? Yeah. You agree, Hazel?
Again, with the range of sports, we're either playing the same classic sports like basketball or football or tennis,
Mm.
but then there are other sports that are underrated and are not given more attention to.
Mhm.
Because like either we play classic sports or we play sports from the past, like rounders. No one plays rounders, and no one is
Mm.
interested in it either. And once we were playing football in class, and the teacher saw us how unenthusiastic we were, and she's sarcastically telling us that, oh, in that case you should tell me what we should do. But every time we go, they're like, oh, sorry, we have a lesson plan, we can't do that.
Mm.
So it's like we're always neglected when it comes
Yeah.
to our opinions and our thoughts, our views.
So you want more of a say in the way that your curriculum is designed, what you're learning, when you're learning it. Okay, what other changes would you propose? Samik, what do you think is a big failing on the school system's part?
There is a problem about schedules. Like when I'm talking about schedules, it's like I'll tell you. I have 2 things to say. First, like when your class falls behind a lesson, because the whole grade is learning the same thing over the week.
Mhm.
When your class falls behind a lesson, the next week they're trying so hard.
Yeah.
To
Instead-
keep up.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
1 week they're relaxing, next week they're trying so hard. Instead of 1 week they do hard work, and next week they do hard work. Now 1 week they're relaxing, next week they're doing super hard work.
Yeah. So
Another-
there's not a balance, yeah?
Another thing that I wanted to say is that, like, the problem is also when you fail behind a lesson,
Mm.
there's only 1 slot to fit in maths from yesterday, but then right after that you have maths for today.
Mm.
That is very, very confusing to process all of that stuff into your brain. Me as a smart child in my school, I think I know everything from before, and there are a few things I can pick up, but mostly everything. But there are also a lot of children in my class who struggle.
A lot. Yeah. So I think what we're developing is this sort of hamster wheel feeling, right? Which is like, I'm running, I can't keep up. And it's like our entire schooling system is based on this I can't keep up feeling. Do you all feel that way? This whole I can't keep up? Yeah? You feel
I
it?
can, but sometimes with the work, I'm very slow at things. In English, if I have English after English, that is very complicated for my mind.
Yeah.
I
yeah.
write.
So much. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
wanted to
Ishni.
add on this.
Hmm.
What's the point?
On Friday,
Mm.
we only have, on Fridays, it's a half day for us. So we have about 6 periods. Only 1 period our normal teacher is not taking. That's French. So we're basically stuck doing 1 topic in 5 periods. Because of the whole week, we're just relaxing. Now on Fridays, we have so much work to do. We have to complete all our worksheets. So for us in my school, we do all of the experiments during the day. Then on Friday,
It's like
we have to write.
boom, boom.
We have to write all of the experiments that we've done. So it's like 2 periods we're gonna write on in our science book what all experiments we've done. So about 4 pages. Then next 1 period for math, like that.
And
And
you
I
keep-
find that very frustrating.
So what you're saying is that there is an imbalance in the way we're scheduling things, right?
Yes.
That we could be scheduling better, not to reduce the workload, but just to balance the workload in a slightly more manageable way. Okay. What else do you think is something that schools as a system need to fix?
So for me, the timings, like
Yeah.
So I leave at 8 o'clock since my bus comes at 8 o'clock, and then I come back at 4:30. So I have football at 6, so I can't manage when to study, like when to complete my notes, because then I also have activities and tuition. So I'm coming back late, but the girls go early and come back early. So even I want to this thing go early and finish my work in the evening.
So that you can, I think
Yeah.
more flexible schedules, right? So I know a lot of kids who are homeschooling, and some of them come to the Hive, and what I've noticed about them is that they're less rushed in the way that they learn. Right? They have less of this, oh my god, I'm just trying to gasp to get a breath of air. This is what I feel when I meet most kids who go to like regular schools, and then when I meet kids who are homeschooling, I feel like they have a more relaxed atmosphere around learning. Do you think the school system is so bad, Hazel, that if you were given a choice, would either pull your child out of school and keep them homeschooling, or do you feel like no, it's not that bad, we just need to fix a few small things?
I think when it comes to like social issues like bullying or
Yeah.
racism, their call to action is very weak. Like whenever we're told that this is the procedure when it comes to a student who's getting bullied and is bullying,
Yeah.
it's very slow and laid back.
Right.
Because in my school, racism is circulating a lot these days.
Yeah.
And the teachers, they just follow a same action plan, but it doesn't make a difference because all they do is just keep reflection time for 30 minutes, and then now they come back to class with the same attitude. So there's actually no difference being made when it comes to, issues like these.
Like bigger issues, you think? Yeah, like bullying and racism. And what do you think? So okay, let me present to you what the opposite party is thinking, right? Very often, a teacher who encounters bullying, say in a classroom, or encounters racism in a classroom, is like, look, I also don't want to take the child who was committing the bullying and traumatize them with some sort of terrible experience, because hey, when we were growing up, sometimes you'd get like physically whacked with like I had teachers who would physically use a scale or like would hurt the children, and as a teacher you're thinking, I don't want to do that. I don't want to scare these kids. I don't want to insult these kids. I don't want to give them such a traumatic experience that they are then traumatized by it. So how do I balance that?
It's not about traumatizing, but it means just a little slightly stricter call to action. Because like in my school, especially, it's either 30 minutes of reflection, 1 hour reflection in school, and then 1 hour reflection out of school. But it's not really doing a difference, because I've seen students who are bullying and then they're like, oh, I have 1 hour reflection out of school, which is the last thing, which is the last direction. And then after school, they're probably just chilling with their phone, and the teachers don't bother to supervise. It's like reflection isn't doing anything.
They're not really reflecting in
They're not
reflection time.
reflecting.
So do you think it would be better if they sat down with a counselor and got some assisted reflection?
Exactly.
So they need help, like
because,
they need
because honestly, they're just building up their power every time. Because I've seen bullies in real life, and all they do is they'll be like, "Oh, I'm really sorry, miss," and then they would just follow the action plan, and then nothing. There's
Nothing
no
happens
difference.
after that. Yeah.
I mean, one thing to do it, this is called suspension from the schools. For like a week, you can let the parents handle the situation. You can just inform the parents that the son is bullying other children.
And do you think that's effective? Do you think all parents know how to deal with a bully? No.
Some-
And don't you think that, again, this is not, I'm just asking, I'm playing devil's advocate here. Don't you think suspension is too strong for a child? Like, I don't want to isolate this child and throw them out of the school and...
I think there should be like different levels. If it's too, if the bullying is happening too much, suspension should be on the
Cards.
In my school, there are 5 levels.
Yeah,
Suspension is the 4th level, and the 5th level
as expulsion.
is yes.
Okay,
Has
alright.
anybody ever been expelled?
Has anyone been expelled? Because I also feel like, hey, like, okay, here's my opinion on expelling people, right? I feel like you're pretty much saying, I don't want to deal with the problem now, you go figure this out elsewhere. But as an educator, it is my job to deal with the problem, right? Expelling you is like saying, now I'm just going to narrow this stream down to only the people I want to work with. If you don't fit my plan, sorry, I'm going to chuck you out of the system. That's convenient.
Suspension isn't really working because like a few students in my school in my year have been suspended for like 2 days, 3 days. But honestly, they're chilling at home. There's no difference been made. And all they say is that if it like reaches a certain level, it's going to be suspension for like 2 weeks, and then that's going to go on the KHDA record. But it's not helping either way because it's on the record, fine. And it's
Yeah.
not affecting the child at all.
I think you're right about this whole thing of like how do you deal with kids who are not behaving the way that they should be behaving, right? But I want to take a little bit of what you said about schedules, and I want to ask you guys this question. Do you think that we should have flexible learning plans? Like in the sense that right now, work, the way that all of us work is changing, right? Once upon a time, my mother had to clock into work at 8:59, and by 9 o'clock, if she was not present, she would get like salary would be cut, and she would leave at 4, and that was the way people work. Now, as long as your job's being done, work on your phone, work from the beach, work from another country, I don't really care. Do you think that that's how learning should be, or like so to that way you'd be able to fit in more football, you'd be able to fit in more reading, more playing, all of the other things?
Okay, so if children would do that system, then it would totally be chaos. Cause like you're at home, okay, you're at home, you don't really care about what's happening. So for example, you're online. You can do whatever you want at home. You can off your camera in the meeting, and then you can just do whatever you want. You're not really paying attention. You can just go on your phone.
But I shouldn't care whether you're
Yeah.
on your phone or not, because the point is, at the end of the week, have you learned, I don't know, precipitation? Yes or no?
What
If
if-
you've learned the lesson well, then what does it matter to me whether you were on your phone in
If you
between?
don't know about precipitation, and you need a teacher's like you need a
Assistance.
a teacher to explain it to you properly. You cannot process things properly. Yeah, and then that kind of kid who is switching up the camera and goes on the phone.
What do you think, Amit?
Not really that much because during online lessons, I'm going to be honest, none of my class paid attention.
Yeah,
Not even.
I did online class with you, Amit, through COVID. I know. I'm joking.
I also did that much. Like I cared about school, but then I didn't like the way like the teachers were explaining. They were like like a tie with like, yeah, whatever 1 plus 3 equals 4. They didn't like show like a care. They didn't like care.
They didn't care enough.
So then that also made the students like be like, okay, the teacher's not caring. I'm not gonna care.
Do you feel the same way, Kabir?
Yes.
You think we should have flexi plans? No flexi plans.
Yes, we should have.
But then we'll all be all over the place, right? That means you'll never meet your class.
Yeah,
Like
some-
maybe you want to do chemistry at 8 o'clock
If
and...
it's important, then you can. But like, if it's not important, you have to do it.
How about
Okay.
how about we have different separate rooms, and then in the you can just decide.
Go into the room.
You can decide you can decide your schedule, present it to a teacher. If the teacher likes your schedule, and if there's enough space in each room at the time,
Yeah.
then I think students can fit their own schedules.
Okay, so what you're proposing, and let me explain this and then we see whether we like it, okay, is that we have an English room, a math room, a science room, a chemistry room, or whatever room. We tell you these are the lessons that you guys need to figure out by the end of the week. You make a plan and you say, I'd like to go to the English room at 8:30. Hazel says, I'd like to go at 9:30. You just figure out your own times, which is how the working world works, by the way. That works for you.
I think that would be a chaos and it'll hamper because honestly this whole schedule, fixed timings, it results in two core values in us, discipline and punctuality. Now these two are extremely important for our job life, career path.
Future life, yeah.
Because like let's say you have class at 8:30 and you reach school at let's say 8. And then you have to make sure that you reach on time because then you'll be a habit of punctuality. Then of course you reach on time every day. So if you get to choose your own schedule, one, that's going to be very chaotic. And because like the school knows what lessons you need to have at what time. Let's say you have English right now, you wouldn't have math straight after because it's too chaotic. I mean, unless your school cares. But let's say it's English, then maybe a little laid back lesson like art. and then maybe it can get progressed the way it should be. So it's more like if you choose it by your preference, you'll be like
All over the
completely
place.
laid
Okay.
back.
Yes, Aman.
Also, I think we should do this, but then like maybe like when we're much older and then we know like, oh no, if I don't do this properly, then I will be messed up for my entire life.
I want to ask you one more question. Sorry, Devang, actually, we'll get your opinion and then, yeah.
Okay, well, so when we're like, how do I explain it?
When you're scheduling.
Yeah, so in my like for online classes, my class, like half of my class, just see what the teacher like which teacher it is, like which subject, and then they decide whether or not they want to join. Because half my class, our SST got cancelled for Hindi, so half my class decided not to join, and two classes are combined over there. So ma'am, to be honest, did not really care and did not notice because two classes got combined in one online session.
Right. Okay. So I want to take it to the next big question which I have. Okay, my big problem with schools is just the simple thing of class size. Okay, we are a class of what, 10 kids in our class?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I still feel like I can barely get to hear all your thoughts in a class. You know, I still feel like I'm really struggling to get enough attention for each of you. I don't know how schools are doing it with 35 kids to a class, and I think that is just impractical. So if I as a parent had to choose a school, I would just say, give me the school with the smallest class size, not the one with the biggest swimming pool or the most number of smart boards or the coolest principal or whatever. I just want a small class size because that defines success. Do you agree?
So
Class size? You forgot. Okay, no problem.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, you got your point. It's okay, guys. We'll come around. Yeah.
So, when I want to answer, I don't get a chance. Some days I don't get a chance because so there may be one person who wants to answer. They're like, they get 2 chances in a day, and I don't even get 1 chance. They might get 3. I don't get 1. I don't even get 1.
Right now, homeschooling is looking really good, guys, because if you're getting a chance to answer a question only twice a day, that's the problem with the system. Amen.
Although it also depends like the teacher. Some teachers in our school, we know that they are favorites. Like we know that they are favorites. Like always they may. And then one thing, when they see their favorite student like sitting at the back, they're like, oh hell no, you coming in the front. And then they switch with the.
I don't think they say hell no, but okay.
then they switch with the person who like they don't like in the front. And then they only pick that they only pick like particular students. Like,
So there's a lot of favoritism.
yeah. And
Yeah. Sorry, Kabir.
I would agree to Amir's point. For example, my assistant teacher loves one person in my class the most, and she always calls out her name whenever she's giving prizes.
Okay. So, but do you think it's feasible to teach a class of 35 kids?
No, because like there are like how I told us, like there's 35 kids in my class, there are 30 kids, and I can clearly tell that the person next to me is not able to understand one thing, and the person next to me is getting too much of help. So it's like the teacher is not able to handle each and every one of them because everyone has different styles of learning, as you mentioned, and some people are slow learners, some people are fast learners. My school tried to fix that problem by sets. So we do like a capability test of each class. Let's say math, we take a capability test, and then based on your levels, you'd be split into different classes.
But don't you think that, I mean, I just wonder, okay, because we didn't have the system as in our school. I wonder whether that makes some kids feel bad because you're like not in the super smart set or whatever.
Again, bringing back to the point you said. Yeah, because like we have set 1, which is the highest set, and set 6, which is the lowest. Students from set 6, they're too afraid to say, oh, I'm in set 6, I cannot learn this. I mean, I haven't learned this yet. And then the fact that they all have to do the same test, like the same capability, but set 6 is not able to understand most of it.
See, in my experience, right, guys, and you correct me if I'm wrong, I find that sometimes if you keep telling a kid that they are something, they become that thing. You know, if I say that Amay is very shy, Amay is very shy, Amay is very shy, if I say it 150 times in front of him in a day, he will become shy. Even if he's like thinking of not being shy anymore, he becomes shy, right? And I think that's a problem that a lot of schools, teachers, educators, parents all kind of have. So I just wonder, like I know that this dividing the class into sets thing is coming from a good place. But doesn't that, like, if I keep telling Ashni, you're bad at chemistry, she's going to become bad. Like, she's going to never believe that she can be good at chemistry.
So it's just very demoralizing for the student as well, because
Yeah.
they're taught slowly, which might help them, but at the same time, if they think that, oh, my learning capacity is getting better,
Yeah.
they won't be able to progress to another set. And then there's a lot of bullying that comes with it too. 'Cause
Yeah.
you're in a lower set, you really suck at this.
How do we fix this then? How do we fix this? Any ideas? Or maybe we just have smaller classes so there is no sets. You know, we only have 6 children in the class. That way, like, there is no question of having 6 sets.
And then the whole, all of the grade would be chaos technically, because all of the classes, 6, that would be too many classes. That would be too many teachers. So
So the cost would go up, and so you'd make less profit. So I wonder whether that's the problem, right? Schools would make less money. They would be less profitable. But hey, we'd have happier children. I wonder if that matters.
That is not.
I wonder another point about
Yeah.
screen time.
Yeah.
Because in school nowadays, since apparently it's a very progressing school, we're modernizing a lot. They tell us to bring laptops if you're in a higher standard, or if to bring like iPads.
Mhm.
And in my school specifically, you're told to only bring a certain brand Apple. So it's like you have to pay your tuition fee, you have to pay all the school expenses and outside of school, which is honestly unnecessary, because if let's say we go all old school now, you need to go to the library to get a textbook and then make, let's say, a fact file about it.
Mm.
Nowadays, everything's on your fingertips. It's like, there's
And why do you need an Apple? So what if you brought a another Samsung tab or whatever,
It's
cheaper
like,
tablet?
'cause it's not making any difference, because
Yeah.
even if we don't need devices. Even if we need them, we use them way too much.
Mm.
Like, instead of writing essays, now we're writing newspaper articles online.
I agree.
my school,
Sorry, Sammy, give me a second.
Also, in my class, a lot of the students don't use their device for anything. They play in the bus, and also in the class, like in English class, we have achieved 3000. They don't do anything. They just keep on playing whatever game and keep on just.
So the tab's not actually being used
Yes.
for educational purposes, yeah?
Also, what I would like to add to Hazel, what if in her school someone who always uses his or her Samsung device and is very comfortable to it and knows like everything on Samsung, but when they come to Hazel school, they're like, oh, you should bring Apple product. They're like, oh my god, no, I don't know how to operate any of this.
So that's also a problem, you're right.
And the fact that even if you had a Samsung device and you're refusing to buy an Apple product, like, you kind of need to buy it. You need to buy it because if you have the Apple product, it has a special feature that connects to the Wi-Fi. So I had my Samsung device for a month, and I did not connect with the Wi-Fi, which is why I was lacking behind so many
different learnings. That's not cool, right? That's not okay. Okay, I actually have. I'm going to take the liberty of extending this episode a little bit because I think I've got an important question to ask you. Okay, do you think that all schools everywhere should be not for profit? By this I mean that do you think that because schools want to make money, right? They're all profit-driven institutions, right? At the end of the day, they all want to have more students. They want to pack more students into more classes so they can make more money. If we made it such,
my school fees is 75,000 for this year.
that's a lot. That is a lot, and schools are getting more and more and more and more expensive, right?
It's like now the tuition fee is equivalent to someone's salary at this point.
And someone's rent.
Exactly.
And like you could buy a car, you could buy a really nice car with 75,000 dirhams a year. So my question is, if we made schools not for profit, okay, if we made it such that no matter how much profit you make after paying your team and your salaries and whatever, you've got to take the rest of the money and put it back into helping more kids, maybe giving more scholarships, maybe helping more children by getting more resources, more iPads, more swimming pools, more smart boards, more teachers so we can have smaller classes. Do you think that would be an effective way to fix the problem?
Miss, I want to just like go back in time for like maybe like a century, like maybe like a century ago, like in 1990s. I've heard my
1990s was not a century ago, excuse me. I was a young person, Mr. Ramesh.
1920, 1930s.
Thanks.
1920s. I heard from my grandparents like school was only like 5 rupees, 10 rupees, like that. It was like that cheap.
And that's how it should be.
Yeah, like it was like non-profit for everything.
Okay, so then schools will say, "Chalo, we'll make the fees 5 dirhams and 10 dirhams, but you're not going to get a horse and a swimming pool and a smart board and all these fancy things that you all have." Some of you all have some really cool schools, yeah?
we do.
Yeah.
But in the
We'll come around, no worries.
1930s, 5 rupees and 10 rupees was very expensive in that time.
So there's inflation. Okay, point to be noted. Do you think, would you rather that all schools go completely basic, pay 10 bucks, and you don't get any fancy facilities, but we also don't make profits?
No, I wanted to add something else.
Hmm.
Before I joined in grade 3 to GMA. So before that, I was in another school. It was small, but there were lots of more facilities that there's not in GMA. For example, it was like you didn't have to bring an iPad. They were like stalls of iPads. You could just pick one and use it.
So it
You
had
didn't
more
have to buy an
facilities.
iPad, but it was
Okay.
small, but there were more facilities.
So smaller was better, okay.
But if you're a non-profitable school, teachers won't get paid, and there also won't be a lot of this thing. So teachers won't come because they're not going to get paid properly, and also they need to have and they have their rent and also
To
things.
pay. Good point.
Education is a right, and apparently rights everyone should be able to access them. So the thing is, if we go back basic to schools, I think, look, like how he said, back then, if you learned algebra, it's the same thing. It's like we're extracting the same education from the school. It's just that now, back then, it was completely basic. We used slates and all the notebooks, but now we use iPads and smartboards. But the thing is, it's only you don't need to okay. When it comes to like things like swimming, yes, it is a life skill, but you can also learn that somewhere else.
You don't have to learn it in school.
Exactly.
Alright, Samek, you were going to say something.
Yeah, I was just gonna add on to what you said.
Okay, so let me ask you a question. Last closing question. Okay, I gave you all 100,000 dirhams each, and I said go and invest it in the most important thing in your school. Where would you invest that 100,000 dirhams? Give me like 1 sentence answers, and then we'll close. Okay, so this is important because I think people from the KHDA should be watching this, and I think your school principals should be watching this, and I think educators everywhere should be watching this. 100K, you can invest it where you think it's most valuable.
PE, more benches, more benches, let's specify that, and more facilities like maybe like one more football pitch and like one more basketball or one like a
Your
cricket
bill is
pitch.
up to 2 million, sir. Cricket pitch, football pitch, at the rate of real estate right now, I don't think we're gonna make it, kids.
Fine, only PE.
Only pay, okay.
One word, library.
I would like to
That
Shake
is
your hand.
exactly my
pleasure doing business with you, Samik. You have my 100,000.
Exactly what I was going to say. Like the library levels in school are so overrated. I'm on 5.1, and the next book in my series, which I just read,
Yeah.
is like something like 6.3.
Okay. So Samik's investing in a library. What are you investing in, Kabir?
More space.
More space, physical space for kids to run around. But physical space could also mean more PE and all of those things. Yeah, great point. Why?
Because some schools have very less space to do PE, and in some schools there are too much, so they can just balance that.
Share.
Share.
Okay.
Library.
Library.
In my school, I think the library in my school is okay, but in some schools, the library is
So tiny.
like maybe half of this room. Where are all of the books? Where are we gonna keep the books?
I like that.
So,
We can use that for the promo, guys.
grade-
Where are all of the books?
in grade 3, we had this tiny library about the size of this. The books were like this thin.
Not enough books. Okay.
How am I supposed to
Okay.
do
Kabir, before we move to this side, yeah.
I would like to add on to Rashnika, that our school has a small library, but they should also extend the space of a library and add more books.
Add more
I
books,
don't really
not
think-
just more space. And I think also good librarians. Say quickly something because I got to go there.
I want to talk about like the kind of book and sometimes not the quality of the book. The quality, sometimes it's the quality.
I agree.
Like sometimes like schools buying random books that somebody finds a review. Buy this book.
Quality of the books. Okay, I think we should have a board. Summit should be on it, and that board should decide what books go into schools. Yeah.
Yes.
Well, facilities for mine, because other than a pitch, I have nothing. I don't have no swimming pools. I don't have anything.
Yeah. So more facilities.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's
Okay.
an old school.
Yeah.
More textbooks. Because if you go into a British curriculum school right now, there's 0 textbooks.
Mm.
We're learning off
My mom's
random
also-
websites at this point. We're learning off random educational websites.
It's so sad.
We have nothing physical except a simple notebook.
Yeah.
And in terms of books, how she mentioned, the libraries are only filled with literary canon books. You can only find Shakespeare, you cannot find Jane Austen. It's really hard to find books out of the literary canon, so I think that should be fixed too.
Oh, absolutely.
Also, to add on to that, the libraries in our school are, since I'm in a British curriculum, they are only like lifted into British. Like, no other books other than British authors, like J.K. Rowling.
Yes. Thank you. We need more diverse authors, right?
Exactly. Like, diversity is like a big thing now.
Yeah, and we are Indian,
There's
and
no
there
Ruskin
are.
Bond in my school.
There's no Ruskin Bond in your school.
Yeah, he is the person who inspired me to.
Yeah, or R.K. Narayan,
no
or
Ruskin Bond. There was no R.K. Narayan.
yeah, or so many other younger, bright, exceptional people of color who are writing great
There
stuff.
are only few Indian authors.
Yeah, not cool,
Even you
man.
could recommend the book to a school, but you know how long they like take.
Yeah, don't worry. You
Year.
recommend
A
it to
year.
me, I will
When I
write
was
it.
6, I would go to JC then.
Yeah.
Yeah, then I was in JBS library. What will you do about that? Next comics, not books. What will you do about that?
Such big problems in life. I think, you know, the one thing to take away from this show is how at the end of this, now when we put the decisions in the hands of the kids, they chose right. You guys have it figured out. Yeah? Us as educators and people running the businesses and as people who are making an industry out of education, we are messing up, but you've got it right. Which is run more, play more, read more.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah? Man, it's so easy.
Mantra, right?
Yeah. Yeah, we should. We should. And I hope all of your principals and many other principals in the world is watching this. You guys are fabulous. It's a pleasure speaking to you.